There are fresh warnings about the dangers of vaping, particularly for young people, after a teenager almost died from serious breathing problems linked to e-cigarettes. Ewan Fisher was connected to an artificial lung to keep him alive after his own lungs failed and he couldn't breathe. Doctors have told BBC News that the case is not an isolated incident, with one warning that young people should never go near vaping. Public health experts maintain that using e-cigarettes is still better than smoking. Here's our health correspondent, James Gallagher.
Ewan Fisher is a keen boxer, but vaping left him fighting for his life. He was 16 when he first used e-cigarettes. Getting hold of them was easy despite being underage. But around 4 months later, he started finding it hard to breathe. Something in the e-cigarette vapour was causing a catastrophic immune reaction in his lungs called hypersensitivity pneumonitis. His lungs were failing fast and he rapidly ended up in intensive care. Doctors had to connect Ewan's blood vessels to an artificial lung in order to keep him alive. It worked, but Ewan's recovery has been slow.
I urge everyone not to vape because I don't want you to end up how I've been, because I don't wish it upon anyone, not even my worst enemies.
Around 3.6 million people in the UK vape. Severe reactions like Ewan's are rare, but doctors have told the BBC that his is not an isolated case. So how safe is vaping?
It's a difficult question because on the one hand, nobody who doesn't smoke should consider vaping. In my view, it would be madness. But somebody who already smokes should switch. So where young people are taking up vaping as an alternative to smoking, despite the bad experience that this particular young man has had, I would endorse that.
Ewan says he's back to 80% of his former self and wants to go into accountancy. His experience is a reminder that vaping is not completely safe. James Gallagher, BBC News.
Well, joining me is John Dunne, Director of the UK Vaping Industry Association. Thanks very much for coming in. Listening to that young man, Ewan Fisher, he's saying very clearly to his friends and people of his age, don't vape. He said, vaping has basically ruined me. I don't want you to end up like me. I don't want you to be dead. What's your response to that?
Well, there's a couple of things at play here. First of all, we've got to understand what happened here in Ewan's case. And it's a very, very isolated incident. So when you look at what happened to Ewan, Ewan's is an allergic reaction to something in the e-liquid. Now, there have been similar reports over the last 10 years, but you're looking at about 6 to 8 cases worldwide. Now, when you consider that 3.6 million people vape here in the UK and over 60 million vape worldwide, those are extremely small numbers. Now, however, we always have to look at these things. One thing that's important for people to understand is in the UK, we do have a highly regulated industry, so all of our liquids go through extensive testing. But in the small minority of cases, there may be some type of an allergic reaction to this product. And what I would say is if you do have anything like that, you go see a health professional straight away.
When you hear then from consultants like the gentleman who treated Ewan, Dr. Jayesh Bhatt, saying the real learning point is vaping is not safe, especially for young people, they should never go near it, you would disagree? Well,
young people shouldn't be vaping anyway. In this country, anybody over the age of 18 can buy products illegally. So we don't recommend it for young people at all. And really, we don't recommend this product for anybody that's not smoking cigarettes currently. But what we do know is that vaping is at least 95% safer than smoking, or less harmful than smoking. And when you consider that 220 people die every day from smoking-related injuries here in the UK, this is really what we need to focus on. But taking it back to allergies, about 2 people die every year from peanut allergies, to put that in context.
In terms of, though, you said that you wouldn't recommend that young people under 18 are vaping and it's not allowed, and yet the kind of flavours, the syrups are very appealing to a young audience. Aren't they designed to kind of mimic the sort of flavours that people see in sweets and fizzy drinks that would normally be quite alluring to teenagers?
Well, absolutely not. And if you take a look at Action on Smoking and Health, for instance, and the NHS, they monitor this on a yearly basis. And the NHS just came out recently with their figures, and less than 2% of young people in this country are vaping on a regular basis.
But that is a growing number, isn't it?
Well,
Public Health England have said that the people trying it, young people trying it, that number has doubled.
Well, actually, no, it's actually decreased. But what they're finding is that the young people who are vaping, the majority of those previously smoked, so they're actually doing something that's less harmful for them. But if you take a look at the most important number, which is young people who have never vaped before that are taking up this, that's less than half of 1%. And that number has remained quite flat. So what NHS look at as that being is normal teen trial, similar to what they see around alcohol and cigarettes itself.
This idea that seems to be at the heart of it is that, on the one hand, health professionals are torn because they quite clearly say it's better than smoking, but it's not safe. It's not totally safe. Would you agree with that?
Well, absolutely. And nobody is saying that vaping is 100% safe. I don't think there's any...
But are you comfortable promoting something that's not safe?
Well, what I'm comfortable in promoting is something that's far better for you than smoking. That's what I'm comfortable. But nothing we do in this world is 100% safe. But what Public Health England say is at least 95% less harmful than smoking cigarettes, and that's what we focus on.
And the suggestion from health professionals that, quote, we haven't had e-cigarettes for long enough to know the true effects, does that have some weight?
Well, I disagree with that, because we've had them around for about 10 years. So there is a huge amount of data out there and research. However, we continue to look at that, and of course we will look into the long-term effects. But what we do know is, based on the evidence that's here at the moment, that it's a far better thing for you to do if you can't give up altogether, to vape rather than smoke.
OK. John Dunne from the UK Vaping Industry Association, thanks for your time today.
You.